Okay, so I thought that I'd share my Walmart story with you guys. I was going to write this out on Facebook, but the story's a little bit too long, and so I just randomly decided that I'd make this video. Anyway, I went to Walmart a couple days ago just to get a couple things. Now, I don't like going to Walmart, but I just decided to zip over there so I could get a couple items. So I go over there, I get into the parking lot, and I see the parking space that I want. So I pull up just a little ways ahead of the parking space so that I can back into it. Now I like to back into my parking spots. It's just a habit that I've had. I've been doing it for years. I'm pretty good at it. So I pull just ahead of the parking space and I zip on back and park the car. Just as I park the car, I look next to me and I see this guy sitting in his car right next to me. And for whatever reason, he seems to be freaked out that I just backed my car into this parking spot next to him. I don't know if he had just never seen that kind of thing before, or if he felt that I had done it a little bit too recklessly, but he was upset. And he's glaring at me, and he's saying some stuff. I can't hear what he's saying. He's waving his arms around a little bit. Now, I'm normally not a very confrontational kind of person, okay? But I was in a different sort of mood that afternoon. So I got out of the car and I walked over to his car, the passenger side of his car, and he's got the window up, so I got to raise my voice a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I just say to the guy, I said, "Pal, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it." And I just start walking away from the guy. As I'm walking away, he brings down the driver's side window of the car where he's sitting, and he starts saying stuff. I don't remember what he was saying at that point. He was agitated and he was just saying stuff, but I cut him off immediately because I don't want to deal with this. And I said, "Pal, you need to understand something. Unless I hit your car, you and I don't have any business, and I don't want to talk to you." This makes him mad. And he starts kind of yelling. He said, you just go around brushing up against other people's cars, and when you do it to my car, it's not supposed to be any of my business, right?" Now, I didn't brush up against anybody's car. He knows I didn't. Uh, so I said, "Sir, so I brushed up against your car? Would you mind?" I said, "Sir, would you mind stepping out of your car and just walking over here and pointing out to me where I brushed up against your car?" And the look on his face, I could see that he was realizing that the path of rationality and logic wasn't going to be working out for him anymore. So the circuitry in his brain just starts blipping out a little bit. And he just kind of starts yelling stuff. Now, pardon the language, but just for the sake of accuracy, I got to tell you guys. He's yelling, you faggot this, faggot that. Why don't you go get your boyfriend? Tell him to come over here so we can see what he's got to say about it." And I'm kind of looking around like I don't know who he's talking about. I drove up here alone. And I thought I was a straight guy, but maybe I got a boyfriend somewhere that I forgot about. So he's just faggot this, faggot that. I'm just standing there stunned. Finally, I said to him, I said, "Pal, are you listening to yourself right now? You sound like a 17-year-old kid. I mean, faggot? That kind of insult stopped being effective on me back when I was like a teenager in high school. So I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever effect you were hoping it was going to have on me, it's not working out like that." But he's not listening. Guy's just going off. So I start walking away, but he keeps yelling. faggot this, faggot that. I turned back and I said, pal, you really ought to be ashamed of yourself. You sound like a kid. By the way, this guy, I'd say he was between 45 and 50 years of age. Real rural looking kind of guy. I'm not passing any judgment here, but he's a very rural gentleman. I'm just giving you guys a little context so you understand the flavor of the story. He's just faggot this, faggot that. I said, pal, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You sound like a 17-year-old kid. I mean, if you've got to insult me, is this really the best you can do? Just saying faggot over and over again? I mean, you sound like a little boy, and not a smart one at that. And he said, yeah, you know what? I am 17 years old, and you're a faggot, blah, blah, blah. Guys, it's not making any sense. I just keep walking away from him. But the further I get away from his car, the more he just starts projecting his voice louder across the parking lot as I'm walking away from him. He can't let it go. And it's all this faggot stuff, faggot this and that. Finally, I get close to the front entrance of the store, and he yells out, wait till you see what's going to happen to your car once you walk into the store. Yeah. So I turn around and I walk back over to this guy sitting in his car. And I said, pal, nothing better happened to my car. And then I walked up in front of his car and I took a picture of his license plate with my cell phone camera. And this sets him off again. And he's yelling, oh, you gonna take a picture of my license plate? What's that supposed to do? Typical kind of thing a faggot like you would do. Why don't you go get your boyfriend over here and see what he's got to say about it? Just crazy. I just start walking away from him again. And he's kind of hanging his arm out the window, leaning out towards me. But he could see that I just wasn't fazed by it the way he wanted me to be. So before I even took a couple steps further away from his car, the guy gets out of his car, shuts the door, and he comes over and he gets in my face. And he does that thing that guys do sometimes when they're real mad at each other and they want to show each other just how serious they are. And he comes over and brings his nose and puts it up right here, this close to my face. Guy just gets right in my face. And it's faggot this, faggot that, what are you going to do about it? And right when he's right in my face, I said to him, I said, pal, you better not do anything stupid. Because if you do, it's going to ruin your day. It's not going to ruin my day. It's going to ruin your day. And I'm not talking about kicking your butt. I'm talking about you and I are a couple grown men standing in a parking lot in 2013. And you can't just knock somebody around because you're mad at them. It doesn't work like that. I don't know if you've got a family, kids. I don't know if you have a job. But if you do something stupid right now, I'm going to follow through with it. And it's just not going to turn out very well for you. And I think somewhere deep inside the density of his head, something started clicking a little bit. And he kind of started backing off. I think a couple more quick things about faggot this, faggot that came flying off his lips real quick, just so he could get in the last word. And then he just shuffled back over and got in his car and kind of slammed the door. I start walking away again, but he just starts yelling at me again as I'm crossing the parking lot. Faggot this, faggot. The guy said faggot so many times that the word started losing its meaning. It was getting weird. So I'm walking, I finally go into the store. The doors slide closed behind me, and at this point I'm just in a zone. I'm just kind of walking aimlessly through the store. I forgot what I was there for. I'm just kind of trying to decompress and catch my breath. I decided I was going to chalk it up to a crazy confrontation with an insane person and just try to let it go. And then I remembered what I was there for. So I kind of went over to the area where that kind of stuff is. And I'm just standing there in the aisle looking at some stuff. And suddenly I see somebody walking towards me out of the corner of my eye. And something about it just didn't feel right. So I look, but it's not that guy. It's just some other guy. And he's walking towards me, but he's walking with a purpose. Like he's walking right at me, looking right at me. So I'm standing there thinking, now what is this? My guy walks up to me and he says, you know that thing that just happened between you and that guy out in the parking lot there? He's like, you really ought to go tell a manager about that. And I'm taken aback, because I was just thinking this guy was friends with that other guy, right? And he's going to try to start something with me. But no. He's like, you ought to go tell a manager about that. And at this point, I was like, nah, man, I don't know. I think I'm just going to let it go. I don't know. And he said, no. You need to go tell a manager about it, because that guy in the parking lot, he's the manager of the sporting goods department. Yeah. That guy's the manager of the sporting goods department right there in the store. And for those of you who aren't catching on quite yet, that means he's the guy back there with all the guns and all the knives and all the bows and arrows. Crazy. So this guy, this new guy I'm talking to, I don't know who he is. I never came to know who he was. Just some guy in his 20s. I think he was a regular in Walmart, and he just kind of knew everybody. And so he points out this middle-aged woman to me. He says, you need to go talk to her. So I went over there. I'm assuming she's, I don't understand the hierarchy of Walmart, but I guess she was the overall manager of the store. And she's like, how can I help you, sir? I start telling her my story. I got in this confrontation with this crazy guy out in the parking lot. Turns out, I guess he's the manager over in your sporting goods department. And, she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And she gets on her Walmart walkie-talkie thing and calls a couple other managers over from across the store. So I reiterate my story to these 3 managers, word for word, the best I can. And they're stunned, of course. So they take me into some back room, and they show me some security camera footage, not from the incident, but from like a half an hour prior to when this guy was still on shift. And he's over there in the sporting goods department just kind of chilling out behind the counter over there. And they want me to positively identify the guy. But I'm looking at the video and I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of blurry. I can't tell for sure if it's him or not. And I don't want to throw some other guy under the bus if it's not really him. But then they zoomed in, and it was him. Yeah, this like 50-year-old guy in the parking lot, faggot this, faggot that, I'm going to do something to your car for like no reason, is the manager of the sporting goods and all the guns over at Walmart. Crazy. So the managers, I was worried they were just going to deal with it like as a matter of routine. Like they were going to be like, okay, sir, just fill out this paperwork, just fill out this complaint form and we'll file it. But no, they were motivated. I would almost say they were giddy about the story. Like the vibe I was getting was that this guy was some huge douchebag to everybody. And these managers had just been looking for a reason to fire him or whatever. And I had finally brought them the reason. So they're all worked up about it. And they kept saying, this is not going to end very well for this guy at all. Of course, I took that to mean that he's going to lose his job over this. So we just left it at that. And I left the store, and this guy probably came to work the next day to find out that he doesn't have a job anymore. I kind of felt bad about that for a second, but then I didn't. Because of course I wouldn't trust that guy around the guns. I wouldn't trust him in the produce department. I wouldn't trust that guy around fruit. That's how crazy he was. So that's my Walmart story. I just thought I'd share with you guys. I don't know what the moral of the story is. The moral of the story is watch out. You could go run some errands or do something that's the same kind of thing you've been doing every day for the longest time. But one day, a meteor of crazy could just come crashing down right at your feet. And you gotta try to take a breath, take a step back, and just try to be level-headed about it. But anyway, yeah, that's my Walmart story. Just wanted to share with you guys. So thanks for listening. Let me know, let me know what you think about it.